Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and in one of our last videos before the patch actually launches, I want to go over why Fel Scarred's gotten worse and why Aldrachi Reaver's gotten better, and why we're probably going to be playing that one in most content in Season 2 of The War Within. I'm recovering from a sickness. Goose is also running around, so bear with me with this video, but like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get on to it. So for the longest time, basically the entirety of Season 1 of The War Within, Havoc has played with Fel Scarred. Now, Fel Scarred is, everyone who's played Havoc by now knows it. It's the big explosion demon thing. We'll never use meta or I-beam. If we go over these dummies here, I'll pop my meta, and then I get empowered abilities. They'll look different, but they do huge explosions of Fel Fire whenever I push them. And that was basically the old Fel Scarred build. You know, there's some other stuff too. There's a dot whenever you use Chaos Strike, whenever you meleeed. Sigil Flame give you a mastery buff, and then you got some small benefits outside of meta. That was the predominant hero talent tree for all of Season 1. There was no reason to ever not use it. You use it everywhere in every single situation. The build looks something like this. There's been some talent changes. We'll touch on that after. But Fel Scarred was the de facto, absolutely, this is what you're playing in every situation. Now things have changed going into Season 2. So, Aldrachi beforehand, never really played. Not touched at all. You never touched it. It was really bad. Like, horribly bad. But they've done some things to make it better. They've done some things to make Fel Scarred worse. So right now, let's touch on Fel Scarred. So, what happened with Fel Scarred, the big one, is that this talent down here was changed. So this used to be any means necessary, which took all of your non-chaos magical damage, so your fire, your nature, your shadow, your frost, and made it into chaos damage and gave it 80% of our mastery scaling. And the important part of that is that the two largest sources of damage from the Fel Scarred tree, Demon Surge and Burning Blades, are both fire. So Demon Surge obviously deals extra fire damage from the explosions. Burning Blades, the dot, is a fire dot. Now these would both scale enemies necessary and convert to chaos, but they were bugged and taking 100% of the mastery bonus rather than the 80% that enemies necessary did. So right now on this character, I have 76% mastery just sitting here. So let's say I had 100% mastery, right? Most enemies necessary abilities would take 80% of that bonus. Burning Blades and Demon Surge would take 100% of that bonus, and they would do extra damage. So by removing enemies necessary, they've nerfed these abilities by quite a sizable amount, honestly. On live, we'd have like 50 to 60% mastery. So they got pretty large nerfs. Now they did buff them back up, but they didn't buff them up enough. So this went up from 35% to 50%, and Demon Surge, I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but they did buff it compared to live. Now the other thing they've done, one of the other things, and they also nerfed Student of Suffering. So they nerfed its mastery by, I think, like 30% or something like that, down from like 23 to 18% mastery whenever you used it. Now, this isn't that big of a deal because they did buff mastery by 25% baseline. That's why I have so much on my character right now. But it does weaken our burst windows. Now, they also buffed up Flamebound. Now, for some reason, the buff isn't actually on PTR. It's supposed to say Immolation Aura and Ragefire has a 2-yard increased radius and has an Immolation Aura has a 50% increased crit strike damage bonus. PTR says 30%. Don't know what's happening there. So they changed this and empowered this one a little bit. Again, weakening its ability in single target. But then on top of that, they've capped Demon Surge. So Demon Surge deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets, where beforehand it was an obscenely powerful uncapped AoE source. So it would do all this damage to every target equally. It wouldn't reduce beyond a certain amount. It now does. Now they did fix something. Focus Hatred now works how we thought it does, where it hits your one target for 50%. You have 2 targets hits both for 40%. 3 targets hits all 3 for 30%, and so on down to 0. So that's how we thought it would work. That's how it works now. So Fel Scarred has been nerfed. On top of that, there's just kind of some weird Chaos Strike stuff, like the build isn't great. This is the Chaos Strike Fel Scarred build you'll be playing in Season 2. They've changed Cycle of Hatred to be actually usable now. We're playing it, but you're not really using the glaive stuff. So you've lost a talent point that's super powerful. You're not really gaining a new talent point that replaces it. Like you are in these two, but the other build plays those too. And altogether, the build just got a lot worse at A, single target, where it's pretty horrible, and B, sustained AoE. Now, it is quite good at single target, at large burst AoE still. It's very good at burst AoE, especially with enemies. That's Fire Inside, with Demon Surge. Fire Inside, by the way, also makes chaos damage for Immolation Aura now. There you go. Very good burst with meta. Any AoE outside of that, pretty poor. Now, Fel Scarred, bad. Let's look at Aldrachi Reaver real quick. So Aldrachi Reaver coming into this season was never played. I think it has like a 0% play rate on Warcraft logs, which is kind of crazy. Wasn't really played. The talent tree wasn't very fun and required like a ton of uptime to ever actually get realistic values out of it. Now it's still RNG soul related, which I think is its biggest issue, but they have made some things better with it. One of the biggest complaints honestly for it was that it just didn't have animations, and while its animations aren't amazing, it does have them now. So if you hunt in here, I will throw out a glaive. The glaive animation, it remains the same. So the whole tree here revolves around Art of the Glaive and Reaver's Glaive, which whenever you get 6 soul fragments, or you get the hunt. I don't know where they put that on here. It's here somewhere. One of these things causes the hunt to give you Art of the Glaive. But you get a glaive, you throw it, deals a lot of physical damage, and then your next Chaos Strike or Blade Dance deals more damage and does extra effects. So Chaos Strike, it does 10% more if it's first, 20% more if it's second. Same with Blade Dance. If Chaos Strike is used, it puts a mark on the target that increases damage taken. 7% if it's used first, 14% if it's used second. Fear of the Aldrachi is the Blade Dance one. It deals 3 extra little AoE slashes if first, 6 if second. So the kind of idea, you know, single target AoE, whatever. So that's the whole thing here. Now beforehand, the only animation was for Art of the Glaive. Just for Reaver's Glaive, nothing else had an animation. But if I throw out this glaive now, boom, big purple glowing glaive, that gets thrown out. There's a new animation here for Reaver's Mark. If we throw it on the target, it's a big glowy kind of purple stuff whenever I hit it. Hard to see on this character model, not very easy to see. New animation for Wounded Quarry, which is the thing falling from the sky. Then there's also a new animation for the Fear of the Aldrachi slashes. You look at my little Blade Dance, it's going to do some little claw swipes when I do it, just like that. New animation there. You also have new animations for both Incorruptible Spirit as well as Army Unto Oneself. So Incorruptible Spirit, you can kind of see I have a little bit of like a glowy purple animation around me. It's a little hard to see because my UI is so like weird, but there is a little bit of an animation for some of the effects there. So boom, Wounded Quarry. There's a lot more animations. You feel like a lot more purpley. We'll try and get a combat here so I can show you the other one. The animations were changed, which is great. Really good. Feels a lot better now whenever you actually play it because you're actually seeing your hero talent tree. Can be tough to notice sometimes in combat. We'll get to that. But it doesn't, you know, it's whatever. The other big complaint besides the souls existing is the fact that you needed uptime. And here is the other animation, by the way. So I have like swords rotating around me now. Cool, whatever. Is the uptime. Beforehand, Wounded Quarry, this talent, which has changed, read that whenever you autoed your target, you had a chance to shatter a soul from it. And this was important, and there's a lot of the soul generation for the tree. Now, it's really, really powerful. So what it does now is that whenever you mark your target, Reaver's Mark's still there, great, but it makes all of your physical damage to any enemy also deal damage back to your marked target as chaos. Now, it says 20%. This is affected by mastery. It is affected by like all the magical damage bonuses. There's a bug right now where it's hitting for double mastery, so it's doing a lot of damage. But it also means that that damage sometimes shatters a soul fragment, and that's a big deal. Because beforehand, where I could only ever stick to one target to generate my souls, you know, I had to be here, it had to be mailing my one target. If I Reaver's Glaive, and I mark this target, and then let's say I have to go over here, and I have to start doing damage to this one, right? My physical damage is still happening back over here, and I still have that chance to generate souls. So you'll see souls generate from over here when I can be off that target and not worrying about it. But beforehand, I would need to be on that target the whole time, which makes the souls better, obviously, right? You can swap targets and not have it be a big deal because you can collect souls with Fel Blade from wherever they are in the room, which is a great change. The other thing that changed to make this uptime less bad is Cycle of Hatred itself. Beforehand, where this required you to just be on your target 24/7, and Cycle of Hatred worked very well with Aldrachi Reaver because more haste means more souls, means more glaives. Now, it's a static thing where every time you use I-Beam, your next I-Beam is 5 seconds less cooldown, up to 20. So after 4 I-Beams, so the rest of combat, rest of the dungeon you're in, I-Beam is a 20-second cooldown forever. So this doesn't require uptime anymore, it just requires you to push I-Beam every now and then. And the Wounded Quarry change means that you don't also need that crazy uptime to get all the souls. Now you still do need uptime for this spec. You need uptime for every melee spec. It is maybe a little bit more than like your average, but where Fel Scarred is like all of its damage is this dot, all your damage with Aldrachi Reaver is also going to be like hitting your target. So I don't think it's anything egregious anymore. Obviously it's still there. It's a melee spec that's going to exist, but I think that's a lot better and it's fixed. Now, Aldrachi Reaver also just kind of really synergizes well with the glaive talents that were added. You have Scream Brutality, which doesn't throw Reaver's Glaive. See, I have a stack here, Reaver's Glaive. If I use Blade Dance, it doesn't throw it, but it does throw the glaives. But you already want to be taking the glaives anyways, right? You want to take Accelerated Blade because it increases Reaver's Glaive. You want to take Furious Throws because it's good with the glaive stuff. It actually doesn't affect Reaver's Glaive. But you want to take Serrated Glaive because it affects Reaver's Glaive. You want to take Soul Scar because it affects Reaver's Glaive. Soul Scar has been nerfed, by the way. Just throwing that out there. So all these talents you're already taking to empower your Reaver's Glaive gives you the access to a very powerful package in Scream Brutality, where you have the really powerful Season 3 Dragonflight tier set that throws glaives at your primary target, and also cleaves glaives and AoE around you. Incredibly powerful in single target, incredibly powerful in cleave, and incredibly powerful in AoE. And that's what brings it back to Wounded Quarry. Now you're probably wondering what physical damages Havoc actually has. It has melees. It has the AoE portion of Blade Dance, Death Sweep, right? Bottom right corner there deals chaos damage to single target and physical damage to other enemies, which is really, really good. Then on top of that, you have your glaives, right? All the glaives are physical damage. So all the glaives that bounce, all the glaives that deal damage, that is all physical damage. You open up this thing here, throw glaive, physical damage. Very important there. You also have the stuff from the Aldrachi Reaver tree. Reaver's Glaive, very powerful single target AoE glaive nuke. You have Fury of the Aldrachi, extra physical damage slashes. You have Warblade's Hunger, which is physical damage. Admittedly not much, but it's physical damage. And then you have Preemptive Strike. Now this one is really important. This is an uncapped physical damage source, as is Fear of the Aldrachi, by the way, neither are capped, which means that in large pulls, every single glaive you throw out triggers Preemptive Strike. So it triggers from all the glaives from Scream Brutality, triggers from everything. So we throw our glaive out here, throw just like a mark on there, and we start just doing our Blade Dance slashes. I'm not doing my rotation properly at all. Just kind of messing around to show you guys just how much like physical damage we actually can get done in a short window here. Do this, throw out our glaive, boom, slashes, and this is on 3 targets. You see, Wounded Quarry does 21% of your damage. Now this is bugged, it's double hitting mastery, but it is still a crazy amount, right? You're doing so much physical damage to the point where this is doing so much damage from your AoE death sweeps, from your Aldrachi, from your throw glaives, Reaver's Glaives. Preemptive Strike does good damage, even on 3 targets. It's like 2%, 1%. So lots of your physical damage is happening, which means you're getting a lot of funnel back into your target. And that's kind of the big reason why Aldrachi Reaver is so good. Fel Scarred lost the uncapped damage that Aldrachi Reaver still has. But Aldrachi Reaver also has that funnel. And not only does it have that funnel, it synergizes well with the really powerful talents, Scream Brutality and Soul Scar and stuff like that we want to be taking already. So you'll have that really strong AoE uncapped stuff in Mythic Plus. You'll have that really good funnel in Mythic Plus. But you'll also have really powerful Cleave and Raid, where you can take Scream Brutality, you can funnel things back to a boss if that matters. And you just have a really powerful toolkit that's really versatile and strong. Not only that, you're super tanky. Both these nodes are really, really good. Either an on-demand 10% damage reduction or just a passive shield that's like honestly really broken and pretty strong. You have uncapped damage here. You have the ability to keep this buff up at all times in single target. Not as much the damage one, but the attack speed is up all the time, which means you're getting more physical damage, more fury generation. The damage one has like 70% uptime in single target, which is really, really good. So Aldrachi Reaver has become the versatile damage dealing option. It plays a lot better because the uptime isn't there as much anymore. And really, Fel Scarred has been kind of nerfed to the point where you're probably not going to play it in single target, but it does still have very strong burst AoE damage in like, you know, if you have meta and stuff like that. So if you're in a low key, I think Fel Scarred is going to be a viable choice for you. So if you're someone who absolutely will not play Aldrachi Reaver no matter what, Fel Scarred is still viable in Mythic Plus. Not as much in Raid, but Mythic Plus, go ahead, totally fine, super playable. But Reaver has come. Reaver is really, really good, and the new changes make it play a lot better and feel a lot better, in my opinion. Are there still problems? Yes. I think both of her trees still kind of suck. Both of them have their issues. I think the visuals, I think the reduction in the uptime you need, I think the honestly really cool funnel talent has made Aldrachi Reaver a lot better to play, a lot better feeling, and I think the way it synergizes with Scream Brutality on the glaive stuff is super sick. So there you go. Just want to do a video about like why Fel Scarred has died, why Aldrachi Reaver has gotten so much better. Monday's video will be like the should you play Havoc Demon Hunter in this next patch that I always do, and Friday will be the guide video. So a week from now is going to be my Havoc Demon Hunter guide for season 2. Get ready for that. The patch launches on Tuesday. The raid launches the week after on March 4th. Gonna be a crazy time. I'll be streaming as much as I can. 11.1 goblins, kind of excited honestly, and Havoc looks really fun and pretty good this season. So exciting times, Havocs. We're back and better than ever. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe. We're really close to 13,000 subscribers, which would be great to hit this month. And I'll see you guys later. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you, Alexander Trifunovic, Zuligan, Fear Redefined, Indiga, Gabrielle Correa, Magic Man 133, Falafadern, Dark Terror, and Skyelt. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. If you want to become a channel member and get some exclusive perks and just help support me in making some content, there's a link down below. Otherwise, though, I just appreciate you all so much, and thank you for watching.